Hi, I'm Andy Biggs from Arizona's 5th Congressional District. I am here with my good friend from Tennessee's 7th Congressional District, Mark Green. Mark, thanks for letting me be with you today.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, so we've had an issue come up in Congress, and I wanted Representative Green, who, by the way, is a veteran. He's a doctor. This guy is really brilliant. And if you don't believe me, he'll tell you too.
Not at all.
He really is brilliant. He's great. It's a great guy to serve with. I love him. And Mark, tell us about your experience with burn pits and your service.
Yeah, sure. So I served in Iraq and Afghanistan, 2 trips to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan in a special operations unit, so pretty elite bunch of guys. And I ran next to the burn pits. We had you couldn't run around the perimeter or anything like that. So we ran on treadmills right next to the burn pit. I'm breathing all this stuff in. So I come home and I wind up getting diagnosed with 2 primary cancers at the same time, thyroid cancer and colon cancer. And so who gets 2 primary cancers at the same time? The chances of that are really, really small. So I went and did a genetic test to see if I had any genetic precursors for those cancers. No, I don't. Went back to my family or any history. No one in my family ever had thyroid cancer, colon cancer, and I have no genetic markers for them. That's the technical term. So you ask yourself, what was the insulting? And I don't have a lot of risk factors. So I have to believe that the burn pits contributed to that.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And you've conquered it.
Yeah, I'm cancer free, thank God. And thanks to some great surgeons at Vanderbilt.
Yeah. So one of the pieces of legislation associated with the NDAA and the week we've spent working on that piece of legislation is a burn pit, a piece of legislation to provide care for military men and women who got sick, cancer or some other disease that we feel might be associated with cancer, with the burn pits. But there were some problems with that bill, Mark. And tell us what you thought the bill did right and what it did wrong.
Well, the bill provided care for those individuals, and it provided a presumption of care if they got cancer and served in an area where there was a burn pit. But it also included those people who served in the Middle East that weren't necessarily near a burn pit, right. Which, those of us who were next to the burn pits, we don't feel very good about that, of course. But that aside, the real problem I had with the bill was that it takes the money out of discretionary and puts it into mandatory spending, which means Congress no longer has oversight of that. Right. So here we are, we've got money, we've got people taking care of veterans that we have no oversight. And I don't know, my brothers and sisters in arms, I want to be able to look at and make sure the programs that Congress funds are doing what they're supposed to do. So I had a problem with that. And then, of course, as typical, as the left is, they added a bunch of other things into the bill. And I don't know, I just was incensed by the fact that they would use veterans to pass all this other millions of dollars worth of spending. So I voted no on the bill, and we'll get another opportunity when we're in charge of the Congress next time to get this fixed and get it done right so that whoever's taking care of these veterans, we in Congress can oversight and make sure they're taking care of those guys and gals.
Amen to that. And, the one last point I'd make on it is the amount of money that this was going to cost is basically, once again, what we spend on the entire Department of Defense budget.
It's really close. The Defense Department budget is a little over $800 billion. This was going to be, the way they structured it with the add-on money, it was like $680-something billion. Right. And I mean, it just, in our current number one national security threat is our national debt.
Right.
So another, bunch of piled on pork on top of a veteran bill is just, it's not the way for America to go. And I know veterans who were willing to give their life for this country will agree with us that we shouldn't bankrupt the country.
Yeah. And I'll just close by saying Mark is a great leader. One day, if we take the White House back, you might see him leading in a cabinet level position. This is a guy who knows so much about the operations, the experience that he's had in the military, but also This the management experience and everything else that he has been able to do is just a success. And I say that because he's a man who's serious. He's a serious thinker and a serious guy on these issues. And that's unlike, quite frankly, some of our colleagues on the other side who I believe played fast and loose with something very serious. So I'll keep you posted, and I appreciate Mark taking time. Thanks.
Thanks,
sir.
Andy. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.